Hi there, I'm Jeannie Street. It's my life mission to connect you to your soul's truth and to the miracles that will heal all the broken pieces from within you, causing you to feel alone in your life. We live in a world that has taught us it's okay to live as if we're separate beings from God. The separation stories continue and they tell us that you are disconnected from your departed loved ones and angels, as if life was meant to live lonely, hard, and even joyless at times. And while the fact is that we all have soul lessons and life experiences to navigate through, the idea that you're supposed to do it all alone, that's an untruth. I know because my angels guided me out of my own isolated, painful life and into an abundant one. No more feeling unsupported, lonely, or sad. I've got you. It's why you are here and why God put me on this earth, to remind you that you are not alone, that your soul is infinite, and you are meant to thrive, not just survive. I invite you into my world of conversation, messages from heaven, guidance from your angels, and inspirational readings and moments that will fill your heart and soul with God's grace and love. Get ready for pure miracle moments to flow into your life. Welcome to Angels Don't Lie. Daughter from another mother, Carly, who I met when I was taking my Reiki training, and I kind of just scooped her up and claimed her as one of my own kids. She's an angel walking on this earth as well, and she has a great vast of knowledge and intuitive guidance. So I'm really excited for you guys to be loved up by them. So you guys take it away. I'll mute myself and just let me know when you want me to pull something up on the screen, all right?
Okay. Yeah, we'll be wanting that chart pretty soon for sure.
Okay.
So go ahead, Carly. You want to?
Okay, yeah. Hi, Lori. Hey. Okay.
Hi, Lori.
Thank you, Jeannie. Yeah, I've known Jeannie for a while, and she's brought through, I have a whole team on the other side. So she's connected me with my dad and my aunt and friends who've passed, and just she's a walking angel on earth for sure. And so let's see, where to begin? Let's see. So I've been teaching astrology for I don't know how long, maybe the past 4 years now, 4 or 5 years. I've been I'm 33, and I started diving into astrology around the age of 14. And sorry, hold on. My husband's bringing a chart. Thank you for me to look at the planets.
Hot off the press.
I was having so much technical difficulties before the call on printing, but okay. So yeah, when I was younger studying astrology, I just felt like it was really limiting in a way. I would learn about people's sun signs, but I didn't know that much at the time about it, and I didn't like to sum people up just by their sun signs. And then as time went on, I started diving more and more into astrology and realizing that we have these whole birth charts, and that sometimes you're not like your sun sign at all. And you could be more dominant in, water energy in your chart, but your sun sign is fire. And so you learn so much about yourself by picking apart all the areas in your chart. And at least I have learned so much. And looking at your Saturn and your Chiron for your wounds and what you're here to heal. And for me, there was some stuff in my chart that was really deep wounds from childhood, from like 7 to 9 years old, that were pretty intense, and they were in my chart. And it also showed that during that time, my power was taken away. And I was just like, wow, this is wild, because I'm such a believer in manifestation and working with spirit and the angels and everything, which is for sure 100% a big part of why we're here. But then there's another part of like almost like things that happen to you that are kind of in a way destiny, but they're really heavy and awful too. So it's a weird balance between I feel like the divine energy happening to us, and that our lives are kind of planned in a little bit of a way, but also working with spirit to help guide us through the wounds and how to overcome, at least for myself, the wounds in my chart. And yeah, so anyway, so I feel like astrology has been a nice tool along with meditation and working with my guides and angels to move through life. And when I'm having a really tough time, sometimes I just glance at the planets. I try not to look at what's happening all the time through the planets because I'm trying to be in the moment the best I can, but it's nice to take a look at what's going on during that time and what's transiting my chart, because sometimes I just realize like, oh, this is just a period of time that I have to learn this lesson and move through, and I feel like I get it so much faster and things get so much easier. It's like, oh, okay, now I get why I'm feeling so depressed right now, and how to move through the depression. Or so yeah, so hope I'm not babbling too much. But so me and Pam, I taught an astrology course, and Pam took that, and then we ended up teaching at Woodlock Lodge for a couple of years, a few years now, twice a year, and I just really love astrology. I love to empower people to learn about their birth charts, so that you know that you're not broken, you're not a mistake. You're really special. Each one of us is so special in our own way. And just learning what your gifts are. I get excited to teach that to people, that, to shine as bright as you can, and that we're all in this together to help one another. So, yeah. How about you, Pam?
Nice job. I am first thanking Jeannie again for this amazing space that she's holding for us to open up and teach you guys a little bit about astrology. I'm a medical Reiki master, and I work with energy. I also do meditation events in the area in Fairfield County. And like Carly said, we also have traveled down to Pennsylvania to a destination healing resort called the Lodge at Woodlock. So Carly and I have been friends for a long, long time. And I had a reading done several years back, and it said that Carly's going to teach me something. So I told Carly, there's something you're going to teach me. And we had taken energy work. We had trained in Reiki together, along with Jeannie too. And so I was like, what are you going to teach me? And she's like, well, I could teach you astrology. I know so much about astrology. So I was like, that's great. I don't know anything about astrology. I just know my sun sign. So it kind of kicked her into putting a class together, which was great.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much because, like most people, we follow our horoscope with our sun sign, and that's all we kind of know. But there's so much more about us that's amazing. And in a few minutes, Jeannie's going to pull up an actual birth chart so that you could take a look at it and see actually what, for those of you who haven't had a reading with Carly. And we're actually going to see Jeannie's, actually Carly's chart we have up for today. But I just, for myself, like, I could just see what I'm all about in my chart. I can see my my strengths and my weaknesses, but I can also see that, if I do have weaknesses, I can rise above them. Like, we don't have my chart up, but I have like Saturn, and I have Chiron, which is a wound that shows up in your chart, and it's in my first house of being seen. So right now, this is a challenge for me to be in front of you guys and teaching. That's why I love teaching meditation classes, because everybody has their eyes shut. So, but so I'm really just trying to kind of rise above all that. So it's about, we all have our path and our journeys, but it's about how we kind of ride through it. Do we want to ride through it and go kind of deep, or do we want to rise above and be in a different plane, a different energy. So, so this is Carly's chart. And Carly, do you want to touch on?
Yeah, so we
points?
wanted just to put this up real quick just to show you what a birth chart looks like. And you can write down astrodinist.com. It's ASTRODIENST.com. So if you want to put your birth info in there, this is what the chart is going to look like.
You can actually, yeah, you could actually go into just astro.com too, Carly.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's easier. Astro.com. And just ignore the green on the side of the chart, the little planets outside the chart, because this is I guess we did what's transit.
Oh, yeah.
So just a natal chart is all in the middle. So basically think of it as when you're born, when you come out of the womb, and it's that exact minute. It's like think of it as a snapshot in the sky of where the planets are. And so from the time you were born. So the chart is broken into 12 houses. So in the sky, it'd be like 12 different quadrants and sectors in the sky. And then certain planets fall in different areas. But the open houses, even if there's not a planet within that house, it still has potent energy. It's just when a planet is in the house, it mixes and mingles with more energy, different kinds of energy. So in the course, we'll go through all this. I just wanted you to kind of know what you're looking at. And in the very center of the chart, you'll see the 1 through 12, and then the opening for the box. Yep, right there. And so each house carries its own energy, so the first house is all around your personality and how people see you in the world. And I would say in a lot of different parts of the world, they actually, when people say, what's your sign? They don't say their sun sign. They say their ascendant, which is the first house. So I would be Scorpio, even though I'm an Aquarius, because it plays such a tremendous role in the layout of your life, of how it's going to show up in different ways. So even though I have all my Aquarius-like traits, my Scorpio is the first house. So that plays out. Think of your life as like a play, and there's different players in the play. So my first house, just for example, being in Scorpio, I've had so much death in my life. That's Scorpio rules death, dying, rebirth, transformation, big shifts and changes that happen to you. And sometimes, a struggle with power, sexual abuse, any of that. But there's different vibrations that you can experience. But anyway, so I've definitely been through a ton of transformations and a lot of death in my life. And it can also open the door to see people who've passed, which I've, seen since I was little. So that's kind of an idea. Your first house is around your personality and kind of the layout of the eyes that you see through in your life. And then, just real brief, I'm not going to pick apart all the houses, but there's a house for, there's houses for career and job. There's houses around your long-term relationships. And also there's a house for short romantic relationships and how that expresses itself. A house of children, it shows what kind of children you're going to have. If you're going to have trouble getting pregnant, which I have some lineups for that. It took a long time. And then there's a house for communication, a house that expresses your health, which is really helpful if you ever look at your chart, because you kind of have an idea where your ailments are and different things you're going to go through health-wise. But it's nice to know, because then you can take certain herbs and, really strengthen that part of your chart so that you don't get sick as easily in that area. And yeah, we could go through a lot, but So that's just an idea of what you're looking at, and it's all foreign. And don't feel bad if you're like, "What the heck am I looking at? I don't understand anything." This is just I just want to throw it out there before we begin, just so. But if you take our course, this is all going to come together. No pressure. Don't feel like you have to at all whatsoever. But if you're ever interested, you'll definitely get it, and you'll learn the lineups. And then you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe that I discovered this. And it's really exciting. And you could do your friends and family and everything. And it's nice because I feel like just like our chakras, our chakra system, how when we meet another person, we're always balancing one another, or maybe that person's solar plexus is really wide open and ours is really shut down in a way. So we have someone with, a tremendous amount of energy and confidence around us, and like it makes us uncomfortable, but it's just to help kind of open up that area to not be repelled by it, but to experience the lesson there and then open up a little bit more. So just like the way we interact with our chakras with other people, the chart is the same way. So, when you meet someone, I have certain lineups in my chart that might mingle really beautifully with certain people, and it might bring out different qualities within me. I might become more funny around certain people or more serious around another person, so that's how energy plays with one another. And so, yeah, it's pretty fun to dive into. Okay. That's my little spiel on what the chart looks like. So in the course, you'll learn different signs, and you'll learn about the planets and how they're intermingling with one another. So yeah, let's dive into let's talk about the virus a little bit. What's going on right now, and then we'll get into the month of May and what some lineups are kind of influencing on a whole. So each person's chart is a little bit different, and we're all going to experience this energy a little bit different, but we're going to kind of talk about the collective energy going on right now and having a subtle influence on all of us. And yeah, so Pam, you want to start with going into some lineups around the virus?
Yeah, so we all have been on this journey all together. I don't think anybody could say that they've been through this type of situation before. But for astrologers, we can see, and they look back and they can see that these type of lineups that had occurred end of March throughout April into May. They can see those going back 100 years ago to that Spanish flu. So what you can see if you pull up a transit chart, which we're not going to have available today, but if you took a class, you would learn a lot about that, was that we had Pluto and Jupiter and Mars and Saturn all kind of clustered together. So that's called a conjunction, meaning that they're all almost stacked up on top of each other, which is like, Pluto stands for crisis and Jupiter stands for expansion. So if Jupiter's next to Pluto, it's like expanding the crisis. Pluto's also about money and knowledge. And then Mars is that willpower. So, and then Saturn is how we persevere through times like restrictions and accountability. So all of those planets together were just giving all this extra strength to that energy of all the planets. And for everybody, they fell in Capricorn and Aquarius, which, Capricorn is, it's all about ourselves, it stands for the house of career and authority So it's also government and structure. So it was in that house of Capricorn. And it also kind of dipped into Aquarius, which is all about socialization, being with friends, and also like global change, like what do I want to say, like humanitarian work. So financial institutions is also a little bit part of Aquarius. And it's also about large corporations. So putting all those planets that I just ran through into those signs, you can kind of see the storyline of what kind of occurred for us this past month and a half. So there was a breakdown of, financial institutions, large corporations. Then also, we had the government structure and authority breakdown. And then we saw people, on humanitarian efforts, like people helping people. It's all about, you see it on the news, like, people getting food to people and people getting masks to, people out, in the hospitals and our essential workers. So, so that's really prevalent, you can see. We also saw during this time, for the lung issues, showed up about mid-March, towards the around maybe the 20th of March. You can see in the charts Neptune and Mercury, that they were in Pisces. And Mercury is all about the lungs, like Carly talked about, communication. It rules communication. So, and Neptune is the sign of viruses. So it was all kind of together in Pisces. So it's about hidden viruses that are related to the lungs. So, so that was pretty powerful. And, that has been definitely over 100 years, that lineup. The lineup of Pluto and Jupiter and Saturn in Capricorn seems to happen about every 12 to 13 years. So if you look back to 2008, we had that big fall in the markets. So that it's running a little bit similar to that. So, and we've been seeing the markets, having problems. Carly, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that's good. And I think it was Mercury and Neptune had this lineup as well for the Spanish flu. Mercury ruling the lungs, and Neptune is like can bring along illness, but illness that you don't know really what it is or how to work with it, because Neptune rules Pisces, and it can create a fog around something. So, and also we'll talk about the fog around communication as well. We already started that fog, and that's going to be still going on with different. It's going to be really a difficult time. Well, I don't want to get too far ahead, but I was going to say along the lines with communication, like you think something's going one way, or you think you have the truth in something around that, because Mercury is involved, but then Neptune is playing its role too, creating a fog and an illusion around something. And so you think you're seeing it clearly, but sometimes maybe we're not seeing it that clear. And Neptune can take a while for clarity to come about and truth. And we'll get more into that too as the talk goes on.
And I also wanted to note that we had Venus, which is all about beauty and love and wealth and luck. It's about justice, and that moved in around the 5th of April. So I don't know if you remember that time frame in April towards the beginning. And Venus is all about the nurse. So she kind of arrived into Gemini, which is all about the lungs. So, they're starting to make some remedies to help with the virus. So that's still kind of playing out. But so where we're heading with this and how it's changing our world, we have obviously restrictions to business and trades, and we've been seeing that going on. There's more of a focus now on collective minds. So working together and collaborating, that's a lot of what is in Aquarius traits there. And we're walking away from that ego mind, kind of it's all about myself, but moving more towards caring and helping others on a global scale. So, and communities too, because Gemini is all about local communities. We're finding new ways of communicating, like through Zoom, which we're doing today. So this is all kind of new for us. And we're finding new ways of worshiping, you know, and learning. So, and that's with that Jupiter, who kind of is the ruler of Sagittarius, all about that learning and higher beliefs center. Yeah, and the internet too, right, Carly?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And we're walking away from traditional workspaces, as we can see, like, you know, a lot of people are working from home, and actually for a lot of people, it's working out for them to work from home. They're figuring it out. So, and, you know, we're adapting to those home offices. And then, you know, we also, Carly's going to get into the nodes, but we had the North Node in Cancer, which is all about the home. So it's kind of interesting that started there, you know, with us making our offices out of our home. And then we're also establishing new ways of shopping and planning. So there's more planning out if you're ordering, you know, for groceries and stuff. And there's a less focus on travel right now, obviously, with all the airplanes, but people are, you know, keeping kind of hunkered down, which is important with the virus. But it also reflects in the signs too, because it's more local travel. So we're just kind of going here and there and back, here and there and back. And that's very Gemini-like. So versus Sagittarius, which is, you know, traveling far, far away. So, and then our higher learning has kind of shifted. People are doing all that internet learning and worshiping on TV, you know, maybe watching a mass on TV. And yeah, and do you want to add anything to that, Carly?
No, it sounds great. I guess, so I guess I'll get into the North and South Node, and I'll kind of hit back on some points that you mentioned. So the South Node, just to explain what the nodes are, the South Node is what we're leaving behind, like, and in your own personal birth chart, the South Node would be something that you mastered in your recent past life, and what you're really good at in this life and what you're kind of drawn to. And then the North Node is what you jumped into this life to kind of accomplish, like set your arrow to something that you're unfamiliar with because you haven't done it before. So so that's the North Node. We kind of resist the North Node energy, and we like to sit in the South Node energy. But in your own personal birth chart, the North Node will start to kick you in the butt around like 35, 40. It'll start to hit around 32. But you want to try to get into the North Node energy. So just so you have an idea around the North and South Node. And so in the collective chart that's going on all around the world, so it's different in your own chart, but for all of us, kind of a subtle influence. Like Pam pointed out, the North Node has moved into Gemini for the next 2 years. It's going to kind of go back and forth 2 years, 2.5 years. And so our South Node is in Sagittarius. So what that can show of what we're leaving behind and kind of like what's going to fall apart would be, like Pam said, with traveling, long distance travel, religions, because Sagittarius rules structured religion. And so kind of like places to worship and really tight structured religion is going to kind of fall away a little bit. And almost to create your own new way of doing something religiously. So that's why it makes me think of Jeannie, like what you're offering is still structured in a certain way. Like you have a belief system and it's secure, and then but you're also bringing in a really expansive new age way of putting this all together, almost like, you know, in religion, like what we've done for so long has worked and it can still work, whatever, you know, you put your intention into, but now it's going to kind of break apart and create its own newness so that we can see in a different way the divine, I guess, energy in a different way. So, you know, I think you are in the right field right now, especially doing this online and everything, which, so it's going to really kind of break apart our tight belief systems to what we really held tight to. Kind of that's going to be leaving behind a little bit so that your mind is going to be more into Gemini energy on the collective scale, which is Gemini, like Pam said, is local travel. It's like it's your local neighborhood. It is your neighborhood, and it's getting to know your neighbors, and it's helping out people locally. Kind of ADD energy, running from here to there. It rules online, all forms of communication. So this is emails, phone calls, Zoom, you know, every different person's view on some subject. You're going to be researching a lot and trying to figure out whatever you're interested in, like whatever pops into your head. Usually you'll like research it right away. That's that Gemini energy. And then let's see, let me just see what's conjunct the North Node. Hold on one second. Okay, yes. And so we just left Cancer energy being in our North Node. And it's funny because just at the end of that Cancer energy moving into Gemini is when a big shift happened. Like, you know, we had to stay at home. We were forced to be at home. Cancer energy rules the home and family and cooking and just like being with your animals and cuddling and nurturing. And Capricorn, which is the opposite of Cancer, was in the South Node. And so that was kind of pulling us away from our jobs. Like things had to fall apart within a job, or, you know, so that we can be at home and kind of assess ourselves a little in a way. And not to make this sound easy for anyone either, because there's a lot of people going through so much and suffering right now. So, you know, I'm just kind of saying this lightly, but there's a lot going on the collective that's heavy and emotional, and depression, because Cancer also rules depression, heavy emotions. So that can come up too. It gets very watery. And so we're just bumping out of that, but you always have that shadow period that's still keeping us at home and moving into Gemini. So now we're going to be communicating out of our homes mostly. And there's a lot conjunct Gemini energy this month. So it's like, it's wild. I mean, we have Venus, Mercury, the Sun will be moving out of Taurus and into Gemini, and let's see, yeah, I think, and then the North Node, which gives it more intense energy. So it's a big time. It's almost like it's a good time for meditation. You know, it's a good time to just take little breaks, and like ease your mind, even though we're going to resist meditating because that's in our South Node. That's kind of like, but to balance this energy would be nice to just take a breath, meditate, you know, research a little, but then give yourself a break so you don't have a monkey mind every second. And and you're going to be doing lots of projects probably, you know, like Billy, it makes me think of you wanting to do the learn the piano and get a piano, like you said, because this is all hands-on stuff, and that was stuff in your personal chart as well. But this energy is going to be coming out and expanding that for the collective too. So you might be drawn to sewing right now and knitting. I mean, it's okay if you're not. It depends on your transits too. But knitting, sewing. People are making masks. Also cook, you know, still cooking in the Cancer energy. Baking, there was a good lineup, Venus and Taurus, a lot of people baking. But we're kind of moving a little out of that, but experimenting with all weird recipes and baking. And piano, what else was I going to say? Yeah, pretty much anything with your hands. You're going to be very handsy, doing new projects, writing, making a book, or doing a vision board. So all of that is going to be pretty prominent for everyone. And so also, definitely, this is a huge time. I mean, unfortunately, it's so sad that we're so divided in certain ways right now. And it's pretty ugly out there. And it's pretty, like, with communication, you almost don't want to say anything just in case you don't want to rub anyone the wrong way. Or at least I should speak for myself. I don't want to rub anyone the wrong way, or, you know, so it's a very fragile time with communication too, because Gemini is very practical, very logical. They kind of don't want to see the divine energy sometimes. It can get really like fickle, irritated, and fixated on certain points of view. And the Gemini energy knows a lot about everything, but it's not in deep with any one particular thing. It's not like the Sagittarius energy, which is the opposite. It like picks on one or two things and it goes really deep into that subject. And it reads in depth, where Gemini is kind of like on the surface. So we're going to be on the surface learning like this and that and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So we have a ton of, like, our mind is going to move really fast and quick. And
it's the time of being an apprentice and learning. It's really important to kind of go deep within. And what do you want to learn? Now's the time to do it.
Yes. Thank you, Pam.
Yeah.
Anything else actually by so far? I'll add to that, but while
yeah.
Do
you want to cover the moons, the different moon cycles quick?
Yeah, I still wanted to go into watch out for the lies, you know, obviously the fake news. This is all Gemini energy. And so really, like, stay in your center when you're reading articles, when you're listening to news, because I mean, even when you're trying to stay in your center, it's going to be a little hard for all of us to be, sometimes you could get persuaded in one direction because something is charming and sounds right and sounds true, because that's that Gemini energy. But then maybe it's not completely the truth. Maybe it's half of the truth, but maybe there's little bits that are untrue within that information. So we have, this is the time that for sure, be gentle with yourself, be gentle with others through communication, because this is kind of a survival mode for all of us too, where you might have someone close to you going through something of, you know, coronavirus or whatever is going on right now, and it is deep and intense for you. Let's all just be super gentle with one another. And when you're communicating on social media or anything, even if you don't agree with that other person's point of view, kind of just send them love, or, you know, like, we have to be careful not to battle each other on what's true and what's not true, because it's going to get kind of really ugly. It already is getting ugly, but that's just something that's really strong right now in the planets. And just to stay open and know that maybe I'm wrong. Maybe something I'm teaching you doesn't even vibe. Throw it out the window completely. And just stay in your center on what feels right and what feels true to you. and then be gentle about your view. Okay. So now, Pam, is there anything that you wanted to add?
I really want to go into the moon phases, and we can talk about, I don't know if anybody else has been feeling achy lately since our full moon, but Carly's just going to run through a little bit about that. But I was super achy the night of the full moon and ever since, so it's kind of tinkered off a little bit. So kind of.
Yeah. And what were those lineups again that you just?
Oh yeah. So the full moon, let's see, the full moon was in Scorpio, which is, well, Sagittarius was in Scorpio, but then Sagittarius the next day, which was all about that hips, that sacrum center. That kind of lingered on until the 11th, and then the moon went into Capricorn, which is all about our joints and our knees. Our skin might have had some flare-ups, and that kind of continued on. And today we are going into Aquarius, which is why we're having all these internet problems today. Anybody having trouble with their phones? It's been quite a task for Carly and I with the computers today.
Yeah.
That's an Aquarius.
Yeah.
sign.
Yeah. The moon's in Aquarius today. And Aquarius rules like electricity too. Excuse me. And actually Pam is an Aquarius rising, and it's funny because for her chart, especially in the first house, she's, her phone battery is going to go dead really easily and fast, and it's hard to keep things charged if you have a lot of Aquarius in your chart, because it's very electrical.
I can't wear watches, which is funny, but that's totally Aquarius.
Why? Because they just go.
If I put a watch on, it breaks instantly.
I gotta tell you, I just listened to a talk with Wayne Dyer on the Hay House podcast, and he talked about how he couldn't wear a watch. It always would shut off. It would like he'd bring it to the jeweler to have it fixed. It was a brand new watch, and he just would get it home, and they're like, "It's fine here," and it would just stop working.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably had Aquarius rising.
Yeah. Yep. And I don't think we were going to go into this, but real quick while we're on Aquarius, Saturn is moving into Aquarius, which is a big deal before we get into the moon. How does time move so fast? Is it already this? I could just talk forever. Okay. But so Saturn is moving into Aquarius, and that's going to be a big deal too. And for overall everyone, I think a lot of internet troubles and problems with their phone and different things are going to happen because Saturn is it's kind of like structure and restructuring something, and it makes the energy really tight and creates a lesson around it. And Aquarius is electrical and a humanitarian and the rebel. So just talking about that is we're going to see a lot. Sorry, I have allergies. I love animals and my house is full of them, but I'm allergic to all of them. So sorry about the coughing. So with the Saturn and Aquarius energy, that's going to be huge. And we'll talk about that more as time goes on, but it's going to be definitely breaking the system down. Saturn is the government, and Saturn is very structured, and it's rules and regulations. And so being an Aquarius does not like to follow rules. It doesn't like to follow the regulations unless they're for the benefit of humanity. Then they'll go along with it. But Aquarius energy can get really, they're usually the protest people. And I've protested before. I've got so much Aquarius. So like the fighters for humanity kind of, or the people who go around the world helping the poor or helping someone in need, because you think of the collective. So in the government, it's going to get pretty ugly, I think, because everything has to be broken down and everything has to be exposed. And I'm not on one way or the other with politics, but this is just through the planets of things are going to have to be restructured, and broken down. And then the Aquarius energy, there's going to be a lot of people rebelling once the structure does go in place. Because for the next 4.5 months, it's going to be loosey-goosey a little bit with like structure and like, oh, what are the rules? What are we doing? But then after that 4.5 month period, it's going to get tight-whipped and like kind of like a lot more laws and more arrests in certain, we'll get to that when the time comes, but it's going to be ugly. But Aquarius is for the benefit of the future of humanity. So
It'll make things better in the long run. And it's also going into retrograde. So,
yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that everything they're going to be so tight about is a good thing really necessarily, but people might fight back too in certain areas. And then hopefully, who knows? We'll have to see where this is all going. And so going into the moon, anything on that, Pam? Do you want to?
Well, do you want to just, because you started the Saturn, do you want to just hit on the retrogrades and then we'll finish up with, or no, do you want to go ahead and do the new moon?
Okay. Yeah. So we just had a full moon, May 7th. That was in Scorpio. And that was pretty intense time because Scorpio is around death, dying, rebirth, transformation. And so something could have come to a head. We might have been overly emotional, maybe feeling also like, because there's different vibrations of each sign, but it could have also been that you felt like life was a battlefield and life got really hard. And so the moon in Scorpio being full in that energy can feel very heavy and kind of like restricted. You might have had a good cry or but this anybody shadow period too, a lot of deaths too,
Yeah.
That's another thing, deaths.
And that was that spring full moon too, right, Carly? But it was very cloudy. I couldn't see it.
Yeah,
I don't know if anybody went out.
I couldn't see it. Yeah. And then our new moon is going to be in Gemini. That is, where's my date for that? It's on your flyer.
Oh, it's coming on May 22nd.
Oh, yeah. And that's in Gemini. So that's just, the new moon is a nice time where you want to set some intention. And so Gemini energy is all around communication and new projects, little projects that you want to do. Maybe you want to dive into something interesting and fun with your hands or learning or any of that. You can do that. And yeah, pretty much putting together vision boards, all of that is good. Calling a friend, because the moon is your emotions and moon is like how you process emotionally. And being the sign of Gemini is a chatterbox. And so call a friend and chat it out of how you're feeling. And, that would be a nice outlet too, or writing a letter. So anything around that.
It's a good time to work on your throat chakra because, that Gemini is all about the throat. So
Yes.
You could do a focused meditation on that or any kind of art or any hands-on projects with that throat chakra.
Yeah. And before you go into the retrogrades,
yep,
I'll just hit Venus going retrograde real quick in Neptune, or it went. Yeah, Venus has been in transiting Neptune, which has been already happening. So all the drinking and smoking weed and like all the getting loose and having lots of sugar and, just like any addiction that you're kind of drawn to, kind of has been increasing for people. And if you've had good willpower, that's amazing through this time because we all are in charge of our own energy. It's just an influence on the collective. And so, it's natural. This is going to be a period of time where you're going to be like, one astrologer said it funny, like having like all this time where you're like lashing out in your addictions, and then all of a sudden you wake up in a field and your phone is missing, kind of thing. Like you'll wake up to reality sort of thing. It's and then you'll be like, wait, where's my phone, and where's this and where's that, kind of disoriented because Neptune is a fog. And so yeah, so it's gonna it's okay if you're diving into your sugar and all of your little vices, you know, as long as you're in moderation and as long as it's not heroin or anything too crazy where you can't, but just, we're gonna kind of like slowly come out of that period too and be like, all right, I got to make the changes. I have to kind of tone it down in this area, or pull myself together in this way. So it's fine. Just enjoy it now. No judgment on yourself or anything. And then just then pull it together, or don't even go there, and have really good willpower and eat your veggies and drink your spirulina juice.
And lemon balm tea.
And lemon balm tea. Yeah. And it's a really important time, obviously, to take care of our health as well. That's very important, and our lungs. And yeah, so Pam, you want to go into those retrogrades?
Yeah, so retrogrades, I mean, you hear Mercury retrograde a lot, and they talk about, oh, the planet, you know, it seems like everything's going backwards. Well, it's actually, the planet isn't going backwards. It kind of slows down and stops, and because the Earth keeps moving, it looks as though it's going in a reverse direction. So, but right now we don't have Mercury going into retrograde. But on May 11th, yesterday, we had Saturn, like Carly said, going into retrograde. And that's going to be in retrograde until September 29th. And it's just going to, like we talked about, Saturn, it's all about, you know, hard work and persevering through hard times. And it's almost like, you know, it's going into Aquarius, like Carly said, and then it's going to pop back into Capricorn because it's going, you know, it's going backwards in the chart. So it's almost like going to test us as it comes back, and like, did you guys get your lesson? You know, did you learn your lesson when we go back into Capricorn?
So when is that supposed to happen?
When it comes out of retrograde September 29th. So it makes you think, you know, they're talking about, you know, the virus kind of spiking again in the fall. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But, and then we also have Jupiter in retrograde on the 14th in 2 days. And that will be, excuse me, in Capricorn. And that's going to be in retrograde until September. And it kind of just shows us that time of, you know, finding out that knowledge. We're all going to be digging in to knowledge, and also, you know, on a global scale, hopefully that knowledge of the virus and wisdom of how hopefully collectively we can, you know, come up with an answer. It's going to be clustering Pluto also in July in Capricorn, and that'll kind of continue through September. So there's lots of clustering that'll occur here and there again. And then on May 13th, tomorrow, like Carly said, Venus in Gemini. So helping us move towards expression again. There's just lots of action in Gemini. So if you keep hearing it, it's all about communication and learning. And even like reconnecting with family is really important, because Gemini is about family and neighbors and the community, local communities and stuff, checking in on what's going on locally. Mm-hmm. And then something really fun and interesting that's going to be happening at the end of the month is Venus is going to disappear from the sky. And it's going to look like she disappeared, but she's actually kind of tucking herself behind the sun, and she'll kind of be there till the dates kind of vary. Sometime around June 9th to June 12th, she's going to emerge. And excuse me, in ancient times, in ancient times, they found this a very powerful time. So she's going to kind of emerge. Remember, Venus is, all about love, desires and passion and wealth. So when she's hidden behind that sun, she's going to be transforming, renewing. She'll be reflecting maybe on things that she's gone through. And this is a time for us to do the same, to kind of reflect on our lives, reflect on some things maybe that we want to let go of, renewing ourselves to something that we've longed to be. And healing, any wounds that are kind of deep within. It's a great time to, kind of dig in and release. Maybe doing a lot of meditation, like Carly said, is really important, and letting go of things from the past. So, and then she emerges in the sky, in the eastern sky, in the morning. She becomes a morning star, and she'll rise up early, just before the sun rises. So if anybody's interested, it might be kind of neat if anybody's going to be joining our next session with Angels Don't Lie, to see if you were able to see that Venus rising as a morning star. It might be kind of neat. You have to be an early riser, but we don't have an exact date on that. It's kind of it can vary between like maybe June 9th to the 12th or 13th. You could even look a little bit earlier than the 9th. And the astrologers are actually like a little concerned that if she doesn't become visible right away, and there's a delay, that there could be some issues going on globally, maybe with financial issues and stuff. So we'll have to look. Hopefully, they're hoping that she rises early or on time. So, they do this research and look back at charts, from hundreds of years ago to see what's going on. So, so if you feel like joining in, and I don't know if maybe Jeannie can post it or something and see if anybody's interested, but we can look in the sky like the Babylonians did way back. Just using their eyes, because that's basically, how we're going to really know. There's no computer program that's going to tell us exactly, when she's going to become visible. So it's exciting times for sure.
Yeah.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah. And just real quick with the Venus retrograde too, a lot of people are going to have to reassess their relationships.
Yeah.
And it's in Gemini, so just like realizing what you're communicating, if you have a partner, like what your words are saying to your partner, and and also sometimes your eyes will want to divert to a new person, and just knowing like, is that okay for me? Is that, because it's kind of Gemini energy is like the twins, and it wants to go both ways sort of thing. So just like, I forgot to mention that a little bit.
That's a good point. Also, they say that you should never get married or sign papers during the time when Venus goes hidden. It's not a good time to do any of that, like do contracts or get married. Like way back, they would always check and make sure that they're setting the date, that it's not when Venus goes hidden. So that's a good point, Carly.
Yeah. So I'm sure it'll work out though if people do get married, if they have spirit like that. I'm sure if it's meant to be. But yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, so that's it. We're good. 5:02.
That was amazing. Like that's a wealth of information that just like came downpouring from you guys. And I don't know. I'm always
a couple of flyers on some classes that we have coming up.
Yeah, I'll add one of them that I already added for them, so they can look at that in the chat. And then
good.
There's this one. So one of the things I really love about astrology for myself is, I work in this divine realm with my angels and guides and whatnot. And I'll bring through information, and we'll have conversations, Pam, Carly, and I, and the things that I get from the heavens, what I get from the angels, always show up in the charts. So when we did my birth chart per se, there was all this, really cool information that came through of, my past trauma and things that I was working through at the time, and, kind of where you're going. I just, it's a really beautiful, like, map and kind of storyline of who you are. And when we get stuck in our lives, it provides some answers. It provides some movement for us, some positive reflections on we actually do have power.
Mm-hmm.
And
sorry.
Ahead. Go.
Yeah, and just on that, yeah, we're all intuitive, and we all have intuitive lineups in our chart. Some are easier to access, and they're right in the forefront for certain people, and some are in the background. But you're always going to be able to connect with that energy of your intuition. And Jeanne has her Sun and Mercury in her first house of Leo, which in ancient times that's an easy lineup for communicating with souls who have passed, because Leo is the soul and the light. Leo's light, and then the Sun is the soul. That's also a double lineup in her first house. And then Mercury's communication. So she literally in her whole life is like communicating people who've passed, kind of the messages from people's the soul who has passed. So that's like a beautiful lineup, and we all have amazing lineups, and we all, even if you think that your chart is, harder in a way or anything, we all have the ability to work with the planets in a certain vibration. So we could be on the lowest vibration and expressing our chart in a certain way, but it's like totally not our highest potential, and it's like heavy and muddy. Or we could go to the highest vibration within our chart and like be the best of ourselves. And each person, that's going to express so differently. Some people, they're going to shine in the home being a mom and, and giving it their all. But I like the astrology because it gives you permission a little bit to be yourself. Like sometimes if that was my destiny to be at home as a mom, and, but a part of me is like, well, I really feel like I should be out in the world and I should do this other endeavor that is not really me, but I'm seeing someone who inspires me and I want to be that. I would be missing out on the potential of my unique destiny a little bit, because I'm putting my energy in that direction, which is, I've already done that maybe in a past life. I mean, I'm not speaking for myself. It's kind of just like an idea of, it kind of gives you permission to just dive into the best parts of yourself.
So let's open it up, and everybody, if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand and then you can unmute yourself. Carly and Pam can, call your name if you just have something that you'd like to clarify, or, just a random question, anything that you found interesting today, something that really, spoke to you. I'd love to hear that as well.
Or if you didn't understand something, or, Laura? Oh, and then just unmute yeah.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Why is it that the North Node, because you said it was in Cancer, and now it's in Gemini, so why does it move backwards?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I think the North Node is, the only energy that does move backwards, right, Pam?
The nodes, yeah. And it's part of the moon, so I'm not quite sure either why it does that, but that's the only, besides retrogrades going, having the look of going backwards, and you can see it in the chart if it moves signs in transit. So
that's a good question, though.
Yeah.
I'll look deeper into that too and see if
Thanks.
And Michael?
Hi, this has been great. I'm a Cap. My sun is in Cap. My moon is in Cap.
Wow.
My Mercury is in Cap.
Oh my God.
So Saturn was in Aquarius when I was born. So you're saying that Saturn is in Aquarius and then is going to go back to Capricorn and then into Aquarius. And what do I need to be ready for?
Whoa. So you're in your Saturn return. Yeah. The Saturn return comes every 30 years in our chart. And so what is it, around the age of like 29, 30? It's a little different depending on your chart, and it lasts for.
Well, I'm not 29 or 30, so this
No,
is
and then it goes again. I think it's around 57, or you know, and it could have a shadow period. So it's like a 2 to 3 year cycle. And yeah, so let's see, Saturn in Aquarius. I'm trying. Well, definitely, it's going to break down the ego, and then it's going to make you do humanitarian type of things, like to help the collective. And you might already be in your Saturn. I mean, sometimes people pay attention to the lessons of Saturn way before their Saturn returns. But you already might be in that humanitarian energy of wanting to help people. You might already be in the energy of seeing us all as brothers and sisters, all as equals, because that's the point of Aquarius. It's like it wants to show people that no one is above the next person, and that no matter what, you know, that person suffering on the street, homeless, drug addict, is just as valuable and just as important as someone who is in a king or queen position or a president, you know. So like, whatever, we're all, so you're going to be like, it's going to somehow, depending on your chart and the aspects too, kind of waking you up even more to that idea, and probably testing you to be a humanitarian and to go out and like help people. Like, it's like selfless. So you're leaving the ego behind, and it's just like, what do you need? Like, what is this need? What does this collective need right now? I'll be there. I'll help you. I'll support you. It's also networking. It's being online. So this is your time to be online to, and if you have a business, you know, to shine online would probably be amazing for you. And because Aquarius rules online as well. It's the internet. And especially with all your Capricorn energy, that's a lot of successful energy, but it's hard work. You put a lot of hard work into things and you work really hard, but you're going to like reap the benefits and rewards. And so lots of networking, lots of connecting with people. And there's more to that, but that's like just a little bit of a gist.
Yeah,
that's a lot. Thank you. That's great.
And it's a push too. So it might be pushing you, like almost like a slap in the face. Come on, let's go. Let's, you know, get done these things that you've got. Whether, you know, it's something on the internet or like Carly said.
Yes.
Have to be on the internet now. I mean, otherwise you're going to be kicked in the butt, really.
Yeah, that's right. That's correct. Yeah. Thank you so much. That was great.
Good. Thank you. Any other questions? Any? All right.
Teresa. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Teresa.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, there. Okay.
Thank you so much. This was great. So my question is that it just sounds so hokey to me to say this is the dawning of the age of Aquarius, right? Like the fifth dimension said. But you know, I read all these things and I barely understand them. How we were from a third dimension, we're moving into the fifth dimension, that we're leaving the age of Pisces and moving into the age of Aquarius. And I guess I just wonder, like, what, you know, how you can help me to understand some of that further, I guess. The little bit that I know, so.
Yeah, so I don't remember offhand how long the ages go on for. It's like 100 years or more than 100 years. I think it's over 100 years. And we are moving out of Pisces age of Pisces, which was a lot of like religion and kind of like structured religion. It's very spiritual at the same time, but also people not seeing clearly in certain ways. And a lot more to that, but the age of Aquarius is the age where it's going to be most potent moving in 2021, but we are in the shadow period, and we've been in the shadow period already for a while. So it's like everything on the internet, it's online, robots in the future, kind of like people coming out of their heart and into their head. Unfortunately, like, make sure in the age of Aquarius you stay in your heart still, because sometimes we get a little too heady and we want to learn, and it gets very like mechanical. But it's also humanitarian, like people fighting for the rights of other people, even if you're not in that person's shoes, and you don't even have to do that. Problem doesn't affect you. That the good part of Aquarius is they stand up for and they fight for people who don't have a voice, who aren't being heard in some way. And different communities are going to blossom in the future out of all of this. Like, unfortunately, we're going to have some separation, I think, but also utopian communities in the future, like people kind of getting back to the roots of the earth, of living simply, tiny houses, kind of thing. And I said robots, that'll be definite for sure, which is weird. And it's just going to be very brainy, a lot of new inventions coming out. But also the beautiful part is humanitarianism and kind of breaking down old structures. And for religion, it's more of taking the pieces that feel right for you. And because it's a rebel, it kind of resists structured religion, and it wants to feel it and like say like, oh, I love Buddhism for these points, or I love Christianity in this way. And it kind of takes in what it feels is like whole for that person and has it blossom in their own way. So that's going to be probably happening more in the future. And it's energy. I mean, it's like Uranus energy, which Aquarius rules above our crown chakra. And it's like intuition is increased, epiphanies. Actually, Neptune too, which rules Pisces, that's above the crown as well. But Aquarius is going to be like really fast epiphanies. Like your intuition's going to hit you all of a sudden with a thought or with like a vision of something for the future. And just make sure you write it down and that you follow through, because your epiphanies are going to leave just as fast as they come. So it's going to be increased intuition in a lot of ways. And I could just babble forever, but yeah, so a little bit of that's what we have been moving into. And the dimension is the fifth dimension, like our eye, basically like colors will be brighter. If your vibe with the fifth dimension, I mean, if you believe in dimensions or not, if you're raising your vibration and eating healthy and all of that and connecting with spirit, colors will start to become brighter. Your sense of smell is increased, like taste, like all your senses are enhanced, and kind of feeling like what feels right in your body intuitively and what doesn't feel right. And it's weird energy. It's very odd energy, like blurting out things random. Well, anyways, I'm babbling, but
No, I really appreciate all of that. Like you're a wealth of knowledge, both of you. Like there's so much to take in. My brain is going like, it's so much, right? I know everybody's the same. We're like, what?
And the age of Aquarius, or the ages are 2,000 years. I just looked it up.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So it's a long time. So like Carly said, I mean, you watch these TV shows where they hold their hand up and it's like a screen in between. They hit their hand and, it's all digital. Like you can see a computer screen. Like this is that type of stuff, like flying cars and all of that. We're moving into stuff that, we've never thought we would see. So, and, with Aquarius being that air sign. So even like, telepathic thoughts and stuff.
Yes.
Being able to
astral projection.
Yes.
Going and helping someone out and on the other side of the world. You don't have to physically be there, but astral projection, you literally can be in front of them, seeing what's happening and seeing whatever and come
New
back
ways,
and
yeah.
talk about it. And that's exactly what's happening.
New ways to travel, right?
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Use the VR.
this was amazing. And I'm really excited, you guys, because they're going to be back next month. They're going to come once a month and share a new amazing insight out of astrology. And they also have, and you can find it in the chat section. I put it in there for you guys. And if you have any other questions, you can pop them in there. The astrology dates that they're going to be teaching the actual class, if that's something that lights you up. I love the idea that what you were saying about being in Venus and about, going into your relationship and love and like learning something new. And because I've been so drawn to that myself. And even like my angels have brought up, like, now's the time to do this class. Now's the time to release this class. So like, it's such a confirmation for me too, of like following my work, what I'm doing and what the angels are guiding me. And now knowing that it's actually like in alignment with the planets too, like it's perfect timing.
Oh, that's awesome.
So listen to your body, listen to your heart, lean into it, find the things that are lighting you up. Pam and Carly are amazing. And I'm super happy. Thank you guys so much. And can you do us a favor before you leave though? Can you put your, your websites or where they can find you in the chat section so they can grab that real quick, or your Facebook, whatever you guys.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. And I also want to mention in that flyer with all the classes, Carly and I are doing a special discount for just your group with the Angels Don't Lie session. So it's an extra 25 off. So it's a savings, I think, of $85 if you wanted to take the whole course, which runs through next January.
Wow.
And if you miss a class too, it's all recorded. So you would all still have that. You don't have to be in person for it, but it's nice because you could ask questions during it and everything.
Yeah, and if you're unsure, you can just don't worry, because they're going to come back again in June. Every month they're going to come back the second Tuesday of the month and get a feel for it, like move along with it. Like maybe it is in your alignment to do it. And if it's not, then you can still join these and, just have a lot of fun.
Yeah, totally. So listen to your gut. Don't feel pressured or anything. Just go with your gut. Yeah. All right. So
Pam added her website. So there you go. I know your information's on the flyer too, right?
Yeah. And I'll put Instagram.
Right. Perfect. And angel members, this video will be edited and added to the angel member portal for you, and you'll have the replay. Everybody else can listen to it on the podcast, which will be available. It will be released by Sunday. All right.
All right. Sorry we went over, but thank you so much,
so
Jeanne.
good.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thank you all for
Thank
joining.
you.
All right. God bless everybody.
Everyone.
Bye. Be well.
Thank you.
Safe.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
There we go, girls.
All right. Thank you, Jeanne. That was so fun.